Okay. Yes, also very warm welcome from my side for today's webinar where we talk about tolerance management. And you see again a picture from me on the lower right side. And yes, when we're talking about tolerance management, then the question have to be allowed, really allowed, what the heck is tolerance management? And why do your company need it? So why should you do that? Where is your benefit? Where is your value? This is exactly we want to talk about today. So first of all, what is tolerance management and where is your value? And on that point, I start to sort about how could I explain tolerance management maybe to a person who do not having a big technical background, maybe to a person who's not knowing what is a pitch line and why they have to be in contact and what could happen if they have an angularity failure, maybe to a person having a financial background. On that point, I thought the best way to explain that is that we take a walk to a company, to visit a company. And from all companies I do know, I pick the company that and that. And I truly believe all of you are really well known what is the company that and that. Do you, Ben? Do you know that?
Looks like we can't see that in that. Are you going to be showing it to us? But
You don't see you don't see it. Um, really? Because I saw it in this uh, the view, you could see it. Couldn't you see my screen?
and we don't see any of the images. There you go.
Could could you see?
Now we
Here we
do.
go. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Do you know the company that and that, Ben?
Yes, I live at the company that and that.
Yeah, for all who don't know the company that and that, this is the company when you come home and your partner is telling you you have to do that and that. And that is exactly the company that and that. And let's talk about my company that and that. And hey, don't get your hopes up. In that company, she is the boss. And I'm the employee. And hey, what should I say? I'm just a man. Do not expect that I know what to do at home. I need to have a clear task. And the task in that way is, could you please hang the picture up? And that is exactly the example I like to give to you to explain what tolerance management is about. And yeah, let's go and see what tolerance management is about on that example. So can we do this? Yes, we can. So the first thing we have to ask by our own is which part's being involved. And the, of course, the picture is one part being involved, the fixing material, the counterpart. In that case, it's the wall itself. We need some tools to have. So it's a cordless screwdriver, it's a drill bit and a screw bit, and we need to have an idea how we want to bring the picture to the wall. Or in other words, what about the process? First, I want to drill the holes, then I want to plug in the dowels and the screws, and then bring the picture to the wall. So I know which parts should be involved, I know which tools I could use, and I have an idea how to do in regards to process. So let's do it. First of all, let's create a single part or a sub-assembly. In that case, it's our picture. And this is how it should be, or as you probably know, how the CAD world is telling you it should be, or as we know it as a nominal. So it's a theoretical stuff. But if we start to create such a part, it doesn't matter what we're doing in a real production. If we're gluing, if we're screwing, if we're drilling, if we're cutting, bending, whatever we will do, we will have a deviation from the nominal, like here. So the single part could deviate in regards to the way how we produce, and based on the single part deviation, also the complete frame will deviate. So all I want to say is when this is the theoretical world, maybe the picture looks like that when the production has done the single part. Now let's take that single part and bring it to the wall. So as we said, we follow our process, we drilling the hole, we plug in the dowels and the screws, and this will be done with a manufacturing accuracy rule of thumb. So it will go off all right, right? So bring the picture to the wall, and yeah, the mission is complete. So what should I say? Something beautiful is totally something different. So she is not really pleased with me, so we have to change something. We have to change maybe the way how we produce the single part. We have to be more accurate. So let's do a new single part. What does it mean to be more accurate? We have to spend more effort into. Maybe we have to use different tools. Maybe we have to use additional tools like a handling check or a fixture or whatever. So at the end, to being more accuracy in production of a single part means that is also more time and cost consuming. But we come closer to the theoretical wall. How much? It's depending on how many effort we like to spend and how tools we are using. And then we can probably, having not that big deviation, what we saw in the small video on the other slide. So let's have a takeaway for you. The accuracy of the single part is one of the big contributors which affecting the final result. So that is the reason why we do have on the drawing such strange symbols, or maybe we directly dealing in the 3D master or model-based definition world, so address those information directly to the 3D geometry. It doesn't matter where you are placed those information, which you probably know as a torrents. This will give the real production the permission how much they could deviate from the theoretical stuff to be still okay. And torrents management is exactly the process to manage how accurate your single part have to be, that you, on the one hand, being not that time and cost intensive, but on the other hand, meet your targets. So find the best compromise. So let's take the new picture and bring it again to the wall. So that means, again, follow the process, threading the holes with the manufacturing accuracy rule of thumbs, and you know the sentence would come, it will go off all right. And it looks like that. So mission is completed. The picture is on the wall. It looks better than the picture we had before. So we also could have a little simulation and a little video for that. But if we are totally honest, when we bring that to our wife or to our partner in general, I believe he is not satisfied with this result. So we have to take a little bit more effort and we have to change the next thing. And what could we change? Maybe we could change the cycle of mounting. What does it mean? Again, what was our process? We drill the holes, we plug in the screws, we hang the picture on the wall. So maybe it is a good idea to, first of all, place the picture to the wall and move it around on the wall until it looks quite nice. Also stay with the rule of thumbs, and then when it looks nice, then screw it to the wall. So what we did here is exactly that way, and it looks good. So you see the frames are very parallel to the floor and the pictures on the wall, and hey, of course, the mission is completed. Having the next takeaway for you guys. So not only the accuracy of the single parts, which we already talked about, also the process of mounting is the next big contributor. And again, torrents management process is exactly managing when is the best to bring the part to your assembly line to have the most or the best results. Let's see what was my boss saying to that final result. So remember, it looks quite nice, but having those grooves in a visible area is maybe not the nicest thing to have. And if you get that statement from your boss, full of agreement, then you know you have to change something. And the next thing which you could change is maybe the manufacturing accuracy. Don't deal with rule of thumbs. Maybe we have a slight different process, and maybe we have also take into account the spirit level to make a straight line and being very parallel to the floor. And let's follow that new process, taking the new tools into account and see what is coming up with that. And so the mission is completed. And I believe that is the best result we had. So again, what is tolerance management about? The tolerance management is about dealing with the accuracy of the single part, manage that, manage when is the best time to bring the part to assembly line to make it fits the best and looks the best. And also how accurate you have to be in your production to meet the final result. This is what tolerance management is dealing with. Okay, so sum up that again. So tolerance management manage the single part dependencies in regards to the method of how the single parts will be assembled to the complete product. In that way that you could minimize the production risk to a minimum in a very early stage of your development process. And that is the key, to have it in a very early stage of your development process. Therefore, tolerance management have to take place in your development process as early you could have it. This will help you to reach your goals with a minimum on effort and a financial invest. To look a little bit more deeper in that, let's follow that graph. And this graph was thrown by the Technical University of Graz in cooperation with the GD&T. And what they found out that 75% of the errors will be created or generated in that area. 80% of them, which will be fixed in that area. So that means when we have a cost share of error rate, then 60% of that share will happen somewhere here. Or in other words, to make it a little bit more placative for you, is when we having an error somewhere in the definition phase and we will fix it in the definition phase, it maybe take €1. Yeah, forgive me the euro because I'm German, so I'm thinking and dealing with euros. You could transfer it to dollar, but let's keep euros. So it takes just €1. When you recognize the same mistake early in the engineering stage, so one stage later, the same mistake, which takes €1 here, will take €10 here, and €100, €2,000, €10,000, €100,000, and if you recognize it to the market, the same mistake you could solve here by €1 will take €1 million. And hey, it's not really a big secret when we look to the return action, what we can see on the market, that this could be a financial disaster. So that means as early you could manage all those things we are talking about, then we could totally reduce that cost-intensive try and error, which takes a lot of time and takes a lot of money. Let's coming back to that graph before. So why do we fix it only in that area? Maybe the reason is why we need to produce the part to recognize there's a mistake. So what could help to prevent us from this scenario? We bring the production in a very early phase of our development process. How could we do that? We can do it with our digital or virtual prototype, or as we say, with simulation. And simulation could help us to make a digital prototype and see what could happen in the real production. And then maybe we can really recognize the mistakes directly by setting up the definition in a very early stage. So the most important thing also is that tolerance management is not a niche thing. It's not just located in the engineering department. It's really supporting you along your value-added chain. And I try to give you a little bit of understanding of that. With that value-added chain, you see a lot of departments. Which department is benefits in a strong way and in a small way? So you see there are a lot of different departments which are benefits very strong from tolerance management and could have very big benefits. And if we're talking about the benefits, we are talking about the values. So what could be a value for you? And if we remember what we did with the picture, we had 4 runs. The first run was a bad frame. The second run, badly hang and bad frame. The third, badly hang and good frame. And the fourth is a good frame, hang well. So that means we had a cost-intensive try and error. And it's a time-consuming thing. So what about if we can make a reduction from those 4 to just to 1? The result will be faster to market. And by the way, those 2 companies totally agree to that value. What could be the next value for you? If you have that try and error loops, then you have to have also the material available to do the 4 runs. So you have 2 times the frame, you have 2 times the picture. You remember we threaded completely or screw the picture on the wall by screwing the screws to the picture. So we have to damage the picture for that. We replace it. Also 4 times rework the wall. When it goes not that bad, when it goes middle bad, then we have probably partially replaced the wall. And when it goes totally wrong and bad, then we have to build up the wall complete new. And then we're talking about a huge number of costs. So reduce the runs from 4 to 1 means reduce costs. We do have a statement from our customer Liebherr, which gave us the idea last year. If we could save 1 prototype over our development, then we have a return of invest of our software integration, just 1 prototype. And hey, Embraer totally agreed to that value. What is the next value we can talk about? Let's talk about reduce unwanted reworking to save time and cost. And how could I explain that a little bit more? What is the meaning behind? Maybe to explain a little bit more, it's better to do it in a story out of my life. So except those production in China, the dark room production, maybe you have heard about that. There's really production where the production completely run in the dark because it's a full automated production and robots do not need any windows or lights. The only time the lights goes on is when they have to maintain the robots, and that's all, or they have an issue to solve. Otherwise, it's really a dark room and the robots are doing their job. When we skip that for a while, then I do not really know a company which having not the case that they have to rework something in your production. The only different what we have to do is, do we talking a planned rework or do we talking about an unplanned rework? A planned rework means the production knows what to do. They have the space on the assembly line, they have the tools, they have the time, they have the people, at least they have the budget. But assuming the case that you have the unplanned rework, that means your production is assuming that each part arriving the assembly line will fit. They haven't to do anything. You can throw the parts from 20-meter distance to your assembly line and it fits. But no one of them fits. Then this getting a time and financial disaster. And it's also not a totally secret when I tell you Airbus with A380 had a kind of that disaster. And since A380, they have a straight dimensional management or tolerance management process. Also, Bombardier totally agree to that value. Let's talking about the next value. Reduce the risk of the start of production. Next story out of my life. So I get called by a car reseller 3 days for SOP for startup production with the statement, oh, the retractable rooftop is not fitting into the car as expected. We need help. So I went over and made an investigation. And I have to tell them, you have to postpone your startup production by 1 year. And we have to rework mostly everything. Yeah, I think you know what I'm talking about. Also, the company ITER is totally aligned with that value. So you see, tolerance management could give you a lot of value, could help you to do the things right, start from the beginning. So could we do it? Why not? The only thing we have to do is we really have to establish a good process for that. And one of the keys in our tolerance management process is to bring the production in a very early stage of your development, of your product development process. And this is done by simulation. And our simulation tool become a digital quality twin. And hey, by the way, this wording is not coming from CENIT. This wording is also not coming from DCS. This wording is coming from our well-known customer, Miele. And exactly, they are saying with our simulation tool, they set up the digital quality twin strategy in combination with the Industrial 4.0. So let's have a look to our digital quality twin. But before I hand over to Gary, let me say thank you for your time. And yeah, when you want, let's join me on LinkedIn, just make a network. And yeah, I'm mostly done. So I would hand it over to Gary.